Laremy Tunsil's got 1 year left on his contract, but it is time to extend it. Should he choose to, he could hold out Terry McLaurin style, not come to training camp, and that is likely what he's going to do. He said as much in a report. Remember the Washington Post? There was like a newspaper in town that had a sports section, and then they had a bunch of writers who covered various teams in the sports landscape.
It's not ringing a bell.
It's an old thing in
Local?
DC. Yeah, it would have been local, but they did national stuff as well. They had a gigantic staff.
Okay.
Anyway, there was this story in this old publication that one of the guys who covered, they covered the sports teams. And so he covered the Commanders, and he had talked to Laremy Tunsil with his access from covering the team.
Like a credentialed reporter?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
Totally.
Okay, make believe.
But Tunsil had said at one point this season to the Post that he planned on, if he needed to, like he wanted to get paid, hopefully it was here, but doing what he had to do to get his next contract, essentially. I took that as he may hold out. Where are we on paying him all of the money? Everybody wants to get a contract done with Laremy Tunsil, it sounds like. But I want to open up the phone and talk to listeners on this. It's probably going to take top of the market cash. If you need to make him the highest paid tackle in the league, are you ready to do that? Right now, this moment is AAV's $25 million. Only Christian Darrisaw, Charles Cross, Trent Williams, and Rashawn Slater make more than that. The highest paid tackle in the league, based on the extension he got last year before he got hurt, Rashawn Slater, makes $28.5 million per year. So if Laremy Tunsil wants $29 million per year on a 4-year deal, let's say, for $116 million, and he wants the first $58 million plus some into the third year, so let's say $65 million guaranteed, are you willing to do that? Because everyone says Adam Peters can't do what he did with McLaurin. Let's not play hardball. So that means making Tunsil the highest paid tackle in the sport. Right now, this moment, I'm willing to sit here and say, yes, do it, no problem, $29 million per year. But I wonder if everybody is.
Yeah, sorry, it's boring, but yes, sprint immediately. If you have one, you don't let him go. There it is. There's no one in the free agent market. You can never acquire one. This shouldn't have happened. They should not have been able to trade for a guy that could still play at this high of a level. He will be superseded in short order. In a year when Bernard Raymond is up for deal, he'll go past him. When Rashawn Slater comes up in a couple of years to renegotiate, Tristan Wirfs, he'll be superseded 1,000 times over. We learned this lesson from quarterback. With all due respect to Kirk Cousins, who I like a lot, this is different. Cousins was good. This is a great, right? You're paying for a top of the market at a premium position. You just do that. This is a no-brainer. This isn't like, man, it's middle linebacker. It's a little bit too expensive for our blood. We can get by. Or a strong safety, and in the box safety that's downhill. We can get away with Will Harris. This is not a get away with it position. This is if you have one, he does not leave your building until you decide.
If that's the case, and I think it is, I mean, we're talking about an elite player. I mentioned this stat yesterday, but if you look at offensive tackle pass block pressure rate allowed since 2023, Laremy Tunsil is best in the NFL. The elite Tristan Wirfs, 3.5%. Tunsil, 3.4%, number one. Penei Sewell at right tackle, 3.7. Garrett Bowles, 3.8. Lane Johnson at right tackle, 4.1. By the way, most of these guys are right tackles. Tunsil, against the best pass rushers at left tackle, has the best number here, number one in the NFL. So I think this is a no-brainer as well. But if that's the case, there really should be very little negotiating and haggling here.
But I just wonder, there's a little, what's the word I'm looking for? A little fragment or a scrap or a splinter in my mind that goes, what if this is just what they do? Because remember, San Francisco, even when everyone was hunky-dory, even when everybody loves each other, everyone's talking great about each other, it still takes to the end of August. They just did that every time with stars.
I said this yesterday.
Yeah.
This was the point I made 24 hours ago
when
we were talking about Tunsil, is there isn't really a example of a 49er where they just said, we're not going to drag you over the coals and through the ringer here. Let's just get this deal done now because you've earned it. That's not how they operate. It doesn't mean it's what Peters is always going to do here, although we're 1-for-1 on that, it seems
so
like,
far
with Terry McLaurin. But it doesn't mean it's always got to be the case in the nation's capital. But it is how he cut his teeth and how he learned it. It's how they do it in San Francisco for sure. But we'll get to the phones. 800-636, line them up. 800-636-1067. Do you agree with us on this, that they just should pay him top of the market money, make him the highest paid left tackle in the league, and keep it moving? And if the answer is yes, then I don't know that there's any excuse for this thing dragging on. In other words, we're saying they should be willing. Now, I know that he has some injury history, so maybe you worry about how he ages or whatever. Maybe it's a length of contract thing. Tunsil represents himself. He might only want 2 years so that he gets to 33 years old and gets one more bite at the apple for another 2 or 3 year deal. And if that's true, I would give him a fully guaranteed to, probably. I would do
close to it,
like 2 years at almost $60 million with no problem. And I'd guarantee every penny of it, honestly, over 2 years. If he wants to do a shorter deal, they should be thrilled to do that. Now, the cap numbers are huge, which is why I'd rather have more years and spread it out. But if he wants to do 4 at 30 or 29 or whatever, cool. Where do I sign up? I'm ready. I've got a left tackle that I trust. I've got a quarterback I'm trying to help. I have won the lottery. Now it's time to catch the goods.
The way I review roster building, I love Terry McLaurin. I'm pro McLaurin. He's really good. He's been good. He's good here, and I hope he's good again. I hope last year wasn't the beginning of some sort of bad trend. But with McLaurin, there was a case against making him one of the top paid receivers in the NFL. There was. Because he's not wouldn't be the number one on 90% of the teams. And that's okay. It's not his fault that that's the case. But so when you start adding that up with receivers, no track record after 30, the fact that he's not better than 10, 12, 13 guys, depends on your perspective, there's a case against having him be a top of the market guy.
I would go farther. I would say there's no reason to pay him like a top of the market guy.
There you go. I guess and I think a lot of people would agree with that. But to me, that's the baseline is, okay, there's a reasonable mind that could say, I don't know if I should pay him that much. I don't see that case against Laremy Tunsil. That's one at a premium spot. It's a no-brainer to me.
This one's going to be more telling.
Yeah.
This one is going to be way more revealing about Peters and the way he wants to operate. Terry was not his guy. He inherited him. He didn't draft him. He didn't sign him. He was drafted and re-signed by the previous groups. Laremy Tunsil is his guy that he acquired via trade. And you gave up so many picks for him, you knew when you did that you were going to re-sign him. So all arrows point toward eventually you're doing a deal here, and the guy earned his money. What are we waiting for? I got a tweet here. Somebody says, yes, Tunsil deserved to be the highest paid tackle in the NFL. Peters needs to get this done before OTAs or I will lose hope in Adam Peters. There is just no reason not to do this sooner rather than later. Like, it is inexcusable for this one to get to training camp. I would not have said that about McLaurin, although I hated how that was handled. But as you said, there's an argument for it getting where it did. They won the negotiation, and they didn't overpay him. In this case, I'm sorry. There's absolutely no argument against paying this guy top of the market money. Zero.
Because that's what it takes.
Why trade for him? Why give up all the picks they did? It was a huge collection of picks, by the way. I mean, they gave up the world for him, and then he kicked butt. He's been great.
Yep.
What else is there?